Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. Region weather meteorologist Matt Wintz with you on this Sunday evening in the midst of a holiday sandwich right now. Hope you guys are doing okay. We've got obviously changing weather conditions outside here with the gusty winds that we've had this evening and all the rain that we had today. My goodness, if you did not see my post from earlier, I put together some numbers on it in terms of individual towns here in Northwest Indiana and how much snow that would be for those folks. And the numbers are impressive. We have some areas that would be over 40 inches if it was a 10-to-1 ratio of liquid equivalent in the snow. Just incredible. I mean, this would have been a big snowstorm. It's not, right? We know it was all rain with this. The air was obviously too warm. But in terms of the way this thing kind of materialized and wrapped up right over Northwest Indiana, we had this kind of the back band, the sweet spot in storm systems wrapped up right over us. So it locked us into that moderate, steady to even heavy rain at times today. And it just rotated, it pivoted right over Northwest Indiana. So if this again would have been a snowstorm, it would have been one for the record books. Obviously, you cannot compare how much, like I did, you cannot compare how much snow would have fallen with rain. Because remember, warmer air, which we had today to support the rain, it holds more moisture. So if it would have been colder, it wouldn't have held quite as much moisture, but still very impressive the way this whole thing kind of wrapped up over the region. So interesting today. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I think you can officially consider us out of the drought now. I know it's not that time of year we really think about the drought in the wintertime, but our grounds and our lakes and rivers and reservoirs and all that stuff, they still are a little bit behind from what was a dry fall around here. But boy, after today's rain, I think we're going to be good to go. We even had some flooding across portions of the region. All right, good evening to you guys. If you're new here, I'm meteorologist Matt Wintz, region weather meteorologist here. I've got to thank our sponsors, so I'm going to get through that. A couple little PSA things here and there. Then we'll dive into the forecast to what looks to be a very, very cold month of January, at least a start to it. We've got some Arctic cold on the way. I mean, January is our coldest month. We know that. And the last thing I want to do is make a big deal out of the fact that it's going to get colder. I mean, it can only get colder from here, right? But this is some pretty impressive cold coming our way. We'll talk snow chances and all that good stuff here in just a second. First and foremost, there we go. Let me thank our sponsors real quick. I'm going to run through these. Guys, these are all local businesses in Northwest Indiana. They keep the show for free. I can't tell you the software costs involved with this stuff now. It's quadrupled in the last year, and they take care of it, which is awesome. They're great businesses. I'd put my name behind them. We'll start at the bottom this time. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've got brand new Jeeps out on the lot ready to go, 2025s with 4-wheel drive and even 6-wheel drive if you need it. Not possible. But either way, those would be great to have month of January. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso, right on US 30 there. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. She's your local lender for all your mortgage needs. She knows that you spend a little too much for the holiday season, and that's okay. A lot of people with higher bills and all the spending that they just did may be looking for ways to consolidate some of the equity that you have in your home into perhaps a low percentage loan to pay everything off. It might actually be worthwhile for you. She's happy to help you figure that out. If you're struggling with credit card balances, anything like that, they've got some great products to help with your financial needs. Also, if you're in the market for a new home, I know it's not that time of year, but you can get some great deals. Not a lot of competition this time of year. She's here to help with that as well throughout the whole process. Again, Kate Cusack, our home loan girl on Facebook. It's Kate Cusack, home loan girl on Facebook, or you can give her a call within reasonable hours, 219-775-6645. Minogue.life. Michael Minogue is our specialist in Northwest Indiana around the world of life insurance, Medicare, and Medicaid. There are brand new changes with the new year just around the corner here. There are new changes that you're going to be automatically enrolled in if you do not opt out. So he's there to help you with that. If you want to have a conversation with him, it's Minogue.life is the website. He'd be happy to sit down and cater whatever your needs are in terms of life insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, all that stuff. And he says no two plans are the same, right? It's like snowflakes. Everyone needs something different. You may not be aware of the benefits you have in your current plan right now. He'd be happy to sit through. That way you have a good feeling going into 2025. Minogue.life, place to go for that. TigerPlumbing.net, that's our local plumber here in Northwest Indiana. We've got cold air on the way. That means frozen pipes. All right. You want to turn off your outdoor spigots, turn off the water line to that outside. But if you do have problems, call Tiger Plumbing or just go to the website, tigerplumbing.net. You can schedule everything online and they come out for free, which is awesome. They don't charge you to come see what's going on in your house. Tigerplumbing.net. Speaking of water main breaks and stuff like that and broken water pipes, if you guys ever get into that over the course of January, hopefully not. But if you do and you have to file an insurance claim, Public Service Adjusters or adjusting.com is the place to go. They are all local to Northwest Indiana, licensed insured adjusters. And what they do is they'll come out, they'll take pictures of the problem, they'll send it right to your insurance agency before you even have a chance to, and they'll negotiate between you and your insurance agency. That way you don't have to worry about it. And they'll get you more money than what your insurance company probably would get you. So keep that in mind. Publicserviceadjusting.com. Meals on Wheels of Northwest Indiana, great service. A lot of you helped them out for the holidays. Thank you for that. Had some great stories around that. They're still looking for drivers to deliver meals in Northwest Indiana. So you can call Faith at 219-756-3663. She'd be happy to get you on whatever schedule you could possibly help out with, volunteering and delivering smiles to people in your community. What better way to serve the community than that, right? Meals on Wheels of Northwest Indiana. And finally, last but not least, FBIbuildings.com. If you have a pole barn that you want constructed on your commercial property or perhaps residential property, maybe you have an existing pole barn that needs renovated, they do all that. They've done over 20,000 of them in the Midwest. They do great work. I mean, amazing structures that they're putting up, even in the cold. FBIbuildings.com, the place to go for that. All right, let's say hi to our early birds, and then we'll get on with our show here. Mary, first one on. Hi, Mary. Hope you had a good Christmas. Getting ready for New Year's here. Joey's with us tonight. Stephen, good evening to you. Honor's with us as well. Yeah, we certainly have some active weather coming our way as well. Yeah, and Ethan's talking about the gusty winds that we have. Certainly going to be on the gusty side here next couple hours, Ethan, before that low starts to pull away. Ron is with us. Sage is with us as well. Tina, we had a wonderful Christmas. Thank you for asking. It was just, the kids are of that magical age right now. If you don't know, we've got 4 kids, I think 4 right now. Yeah, 4 kids right now, 8, 6, 4, and 1. And it's just what a perfect age for Christmas. It really was very enjoyable, truly living life through their eyes. I mean, that's I've always heard that transition. I was kind of like, when's that going to happen? Well, it's here. So there's that. And we'll leave with this comment here. Tom says the clickbait pages are out there. Give us the truth about the cold and snow. And Tom, that's what we're here to do. I'm seeing so much clickbait out there. It's disgusting. But this air mass is going to be cold. So this is we're going to dive into it. And as always, on our Sunday night broadcasts, if you have any questions, save them towards the end. But I'd be happy to answer any weather questions you guys have. Okay. We'll spend a little bit of time together tonight. All right. First thing, this was a PSA I wanted to get across. The Region Weather store is open, and I don't say this to sell stuff. I'm just saying if you want any Region Weather t-shirts or gear, I'm going to keep it open for another few weeks, and then we're going to shut it down. There's a lot of fees with all this stuff. Everyone just wants their buck from it. So if you guys do want any gear on there, I'm not making much profit on this. I'm telling you that just offhand. Stuff's expensive nowadays. So, no pressure. But if you do want a Region Weather t-shirt or something like that, a couple more weeks on that. And again, it's regionweatherstore.com. Yes, we have a .com for that. We're legit. But anyway, if you need any of that stuff, it's on there and available for you. Our vendor is ready to go. They had a busy holiday season, so thank you for all those that supported us. All right, in terms of the weather pattern, big system, really deep low over the Great Lakes right now. We've got the gusty winds from it. And notice how this thing, I'm telling you, if this thing were a snowstorm, it would have been one heck of a snowstorm for us. It really would have been. All the makings were there with a deep area of low pressure down towards Arkansas. You had the severe weather and tornado outbreak on the leading edge. And then you had this band, this frontogenetic band that just kind of curved right over us pretty much all day today. And that thing would have been cranking the snow. If we look at a low pressure, that is usually where the sweet spot is with the storm system just to the north and west of that low pressure. And that's exactly where we were. And you can see this thing is now heading off towards the northeast, up towards the Hudson Bay. But we still have a deep low, so we still have the wind outside right now with a few lingering showers coming off the lake. And then we've got on the heels of that, another storm system. You can see this area energy coming across the Rockies. This is going to trigger a low pressure to develop. as we go over the next couple days. This will impact us on New Year's Eve day and New Year's Day itself. And this is a system that unlocks the colder pattern for the rest of the month. And I'll show you kind of the teleconnections behind that and how that works. Severe weather reports yesterday. There were unofficially, they're still making some counts on this, but 40 tornadoes, over 200 severe weather reports, including wind damage, the big one, and some hail reports. Sign of the times. I did see some clickbait out this week about how, crazy December, tornadoes in the South. What's going on with the climate? This is severe weather season for the Southeast. I was actually a meteorologist down in Georgia for 3 years. And this is their severe weather season. Whenever we get any warm air in the Gulf of Mexico and a strong cold front, they get severe weather down there. So if you're seeing anything out there about how unusual severe weather is down in the South with tornadoes and stuff like that, it's not. It really isn't. There's severe weather seasons anytime really from November into April, and then it heads off towards the north towards us. So this is their active time. For us, you can see the swirl looks like a giant toilet bowl rotating. That's your low pressure. It's a deep one. If you're a migraine sufferer, you might be feeling this one. You might feel a little pressure in the head. That's because this is a deep area of low pressure out towards our east. Things will start to get better in terms of the wind and in terms of the rain finally coming to an end, and in terms of that low pressure feeling. It'll start to be replaced by kind of a weak high pressure over the next couple days. Laura, I just saw your comment. Thought it was going to rain forever. It rained forever today. It was insane. All right, so let's dive into the forecast portion here. Low pressure pulls away. All these black lines, those are isobars. Remember, those are lines of equal pressure. So when they're tightly packed together, like we see them tightly packed right now, you've got strong winds with that sharp pressure gradient. But they start to relax tomorrow. You can see as we go throughout the day tomorrow, could see a lingering shower. We may even, as winds start to relax with all that moisture in the ground, develop some dense fog tomorrow morning as well. So keep that in mind for the morning commute. Could have some fog around as the winds start to relax. The winds will actually probably go calm for a period of time tomorrow, midday and early afternoon. And then on the heels of that, the winds will start to pick up tomorrow night, and they'll be quite gusty again on Tuesday as our next storm system rolls in right away. We barely get a break with this. So here is New Year's Eve day, so Tuesday. Since I've been off from work, I've been so confused on what day it is with these holidays being in the middle of the week. I'm sure I'm not alone. But Tuesday, tomorrow's Monday, and then Tuesday is New Year's Eve day, all right? And we've got our next storm system moving in. This will be a deep area of low pressure. It'll be deepening and strengthening as it moves downstate. We're going to develop a strong southeast to east wind around here that'll eventually crank around to the northeast, all right? What we're expecting is rain and wind to move in here Monday night. All right. This will be with us for Tuesday morning as well. And then as we go throughout the day, Tuesday, notice how the model's indicating some gloppy, wet snow mixing in with the rain. It is going to turn colder. There's going to be a driving wind. It's going to be kind of nasty around here on New Year's Eve day. However, things will start to improve versus where they were earlier in the day as we get ready to ring in 2025. So New Year's Eve itself, it's going to be turning colder around here. It's still going to be windy, and we're going to have lake effect rain and snow showers around here that'll likely change more to the snowy side of things. I don't think travel is going to get too crazy impacted around here, but it's going to be a little tricky. There's going to be precip falling from the sky. I'm not anticipating a lot of snow or anything like that, but it will be turning colder. So look at the temperatures. That's the other thing I wanted to show you on here. So outside of that system, watch the temperatures here. So we have cooler air coming in tonight. That'll be with us for much of the day tomorrow. We'll likely be in the upper 30s at best. And then as this low gets going, you can see how we stay in the 30s pretty much all day on Tuesday. And then by Tuesday night, some of this colder air starts to come in from the north. So we'll go from 30s down into the 20s likely as we go on into New Year's Eve, and then eventually into New Year's Day. Will be much colder around here, okay? I don't see a lot of snow from this. I do see some slush from this, though. Things could get a little slushy, especially if we get some of those heavier big snowfall or big wet snowflakes to fall. And let me see. I actually haven't looked at this, but there you go. So there's your snowfall totals. This is, again, all happening on New Year's Eve day, where we've got a slushy half an inch to maybe an inch across the region. And then the HRRR's picking up on some of this heavier stuff out east with some colder air aloft that gets mixed in. We'll have to keep an eye on that, because if for some reason our air temperatures are down 2 degrees versus what the models are saying, and we turn over to some wet snow for a while versus the rain, we could have a slushy 1 to 3 inches out of this. But as of right now, I don't see it being too impactful in terms of snowfall totals on Tuesday, but it is going to get a little slushy around here, and it's going to be really windy as well. So there's that. Okay. All right. 2 things. I want to set up the teleconnections first as we dive into the long term. The system that we have now and the system we have on Tuesday, both of those are going to head up into Canada, and they're going to create kind of if you envision kind of all these systems as like pulley systems with strings and ropes pulling air masses different places, they're going to pull an air mass down from northern Canada. All right. And that's a cold one this time of year. It's about as cold as it gets, right? So watch how this happens. I'm going to start kind of with the 20,000 foot version here. As we go through time, there's our system heading by now. Here's our next system going by as we go into New Year's Eve and then New Year's Day. This one right here with the low pressure up towards the Hudson Bay brings the air out of the north. This one continues to grab that air and pull it further south. All right, that's how we get the cold air into the country. And then as we go through time, notice how that pulley system just continues with some kind of low pressure up towards the Hudson Bay. Notice how this low that heads by on New Year's Day kind of heads up into the Hudson Bay as well. It kind of backtracks, retrogrades. And this is now next Friday and Saturday. Again, we're just showing big picture, but this sets up just a really strong northerly flow that lasts for days upon days, and that keeps the cold air coming. Notice how another system slides by, perhaps to the south. We'll talk about that one in a second. As that one goes by, it keeps the wind out of the north, and then we continue with that trend with just constant north wind, excuse me, all the way through January 12th at least, all right, with not much sign of kind of backing off, all right. That's where our cold air comes in. That's where our prolonged Arctic air event that we're talking about comes into play as well. First thing I want to talk about is snowfall potential. I really don't see a lot of snow with this. I don't. That southern periphery of where this time of year, what we look for, if we're looking for snowstorms, we have to be kind of on that dividing line of where the cold and the warm meets. All right. That's typically where you find the jet stream. That's typically where the subtropical jet stream gets involved. And in terms of our setup, this cold air comes in, but it settles way down to the south. We'd be better off if we had highs in the low 30s or upper 20s, right on that dividing line where storm systems go. But the storm systems all look to travel farther south. So we may be in a situation where as we go through the first week of January, yes, it's cold. The lake effect snow is going to be going. We'll talk about that again in a second. And we do have a storm to watch that may hit us with some snow. Could be a snowstorm. Again, we'll look at that in a second. But overall, we may be in a situation where portions of the country like Nashville and Kentucky and northern Alabama, well, I don't know about northern Alabama. Let's just use Nashville as a good example. They may end up with more snow than us in the month of, to start January at least, as that's where that track's going to be. So I'll show you what I mean here. Again, we'll take you through. This is the Euro, and I'm going to switch to the 12s a year earlier just because it goes out a little further. This is the system moves in again, New Year's Eve day. Here's New Year's Day or New Year's, New Year Day. It was New Year's Day. It's a new year, so it's New Year Day. But anyway, that day, notice how we've got snow showers around, and then the cold air starts to come across the lake, so there'll be some lake effect. This is the system that we're going to keep our eye on next. Notice how it's all lake effect, just a north wind. There's no systems by here until the time frame where we get into the following weekend. So this is next Saturday, the 4th, and then the 5th, that Sunday. So a week from today, we're going to be watching some kind of system come out of the Rockies. Now, and this could be our next snowstorm, or this could be our first snowstorm, let's just say that, of the year. The Euro continues to keep it further down to the south. And in fact, the 18Z run of the Euro has it even a little bit further south by about 20 miles. It's too early to track exactly where this is going to go. What we do know is there's going to be some kind of system, though, that comes out here next weekend. And the track is everything. The Euro would track it down to the south, and this would bring heavy accumulating snow through Nashville in areas like Lexington and Louisville, Evansville, all right, but nothing for us, says the Euro. But I do want to show you the GFS real quick, because the GFS has this thing significantly further north, and they have as well. And you can see what the GFS does, not nearly as far south. It has that system moving through, again, same time frame, sometime next Sunday, even into Monday. but it has a significant snow for us. All right. So in terms of our weather antenna and our radars that go up, this is what we're going to keep our eye on in terms of snowfall outside of lake effect that will be ongoing in southwest lower Michigan, LaPorte County. You'll get into it every now and then. This is going to be our next system that we all need to keep an eye on. Okay. And that's going to be, again, next Saturday. It'll be getting close, Sunday, and then into Monday of next week. Okay. Euro has it south, GFS has it through us. Time will tell. We'll see how those models kind of balance it out. All right. And then after that, we just stay snowy and cold, says the GFS. Euro says the same thing. I mean, there's really not a warm up in sight. And we're already up into the 12th, 13th, and 14th of January. Okay. That's 15 days of cold. Okay. Like January's of old. We're not going to have a lot of snow unless we get that snowstorm. That's what it looks like right now. Things can change. What are we talking about in terms of temperatures? I'm going to show you the mild version of things first. This is the Euro. The Euro has been kind of the warmest of the models. It's not too warm, but compared to some of the others, it's not too bad. Tomorrow's our last day in the upper 30s and low 40s. This 45 happens early, but overall temperatures on their way down, right? So we're talking for New Year's Day itself, right around the freezing mark. Upper 20s beyond that on Thursday the 2nd, and then we get into the teens and low 20s this weekend, and we kind of hold there. And overnight lows, again, approaching zero as we go into this next hit of cold, which comes in here the 8th and 9th. I do want to show you the GFS real quick because it is colder on that. Most of the models are. I kind of like the Euro right now because I don't want to overdo how cold we're going to get. But this is the one that has been more believable, and it's been kind of locked in on the pattern where we get cold with this hit coming later this week. But then next week, and this is what we posted about, I think it was 2 nights ago, we talked about this second hit of cold. This is dangerous stuff. We don't mess around with this, right? Where we have air temperatures for a couple days that are in the single digits and low teens, overnight lows near zero, and then it has another hit of cold coming after that. But wind chill values within this would be in the minus 10 to minus 20 degree range, all right? And that's again, not something you mess around with. So you get the trend. We're going to turn colder in January. In terms of the real barbaric Arctic cold, we don't really get there this weekend. It's going to be cold this upcoming weekend, but that's just kind of January cold. And then we get to like frigid cold, Arctic cold once we get to the 8th, 9th, 10th, sometime in that time frame. And it looks to last for a couple days. This isn't going to be like the one hit that we've had a day here, a day there. And in terms of snowfall, and again, this is the last thing I've got for you, and I'd be happy to answer questions. So go ahead and throw them on there if you can. But anyway, as we go through time, notice how there's not a lot of snow until we get to this system here. This is that system that the Euro has sliding through Tennessee. If it misses us, we don't get much. We really don't. And then you notice how, we get cold and more snow around. Lake effect will be going pretty good. Areas of southwest lower Michigan will likely get a couple feet by the time we're, the 11th, 12th, 13th of January. Lake Erie, Lake Ontario going really well. Lake Huron, blanketing Canada in snow. I mean, the lake effect snow is going to go for like 12 to 13 days. All right. It's going to waffle back and forth. In terms of us here, locally, up several inches of snow. There we go. All right. Just decided to go blank for a second. We have very strong wind at our house as well. I'm wondering if that's doing wonders for the internet, but hopefully you guys can hear me. So, all right, let's dive into your questions and we'll get you on the way in this Sunday evening. I do, as always, appreciate you guys taking your time out of I know you've got schedules and I know you've got stuff going on and I know, you have other things you could be doing. But I'm always humbled by it. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to join me to chat weather. I hope this is helpful. I always do. All right. Hopefully you're getting something out of it. All right. Christopher asks, driving back from Indy to Indy from the region Tuesday morning. How's that looking? Well, Chris, you're going to encounter some wind and some rain around. Let's get back to Tuesday here. And I'm going to get back to sanity with the Euro. All right. And in terms of the weather, this low pressure is going to be pushing in Tuesday morning. All right. So it's going to be pretty rainy on your trip down there, Chris. And once we get beyond, I would say, midnight hour into the new year, that's when they could be dealing with some snowflakes around. I don't see a lot of snow, but this is kind of what you're going to be traveling into here. Pretty good block of rain. There'll be some wind around from it as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. Debbie asked, will we ever see the sun again? Debbie, the good news about polar air masses is they tend to come with quite a bit of sun. So I do think we'll have some sunshine mixed in there. We can look at this here. So white is cloud cover. All right, we're looking for blue. All right, so let's go through time. Oh, there's a sun peak maybe tomorrow, briefly, before the next system rolls in. We could see some sun tomorrow. And then the clouds stay locked in. But watch once this polar air hits. See, I mean, we're dancing around with some sun Wednesday into Thursday. Friday, we've got quite a bit of sunshine. Saturday, passing clouds. And then here comes the real cold stuff into next week. And you can see there's quite a bit of sun in there. So, yes, that sun will be back. It's just going to take a little bit of its time getting in here for sure. So we'll see. Mark, good question. Will salt be necessary Tuesday or will it be too windy? Well, that's interesting, Mark. I mean, we are going to drop. We're going to drop probably to near freezing as we go into, we'd probably be upper 20s. And I mean, that can be verified here. We'll be upper 20s to just below the freezing mark, New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. So in terms of salt, it would certainly be effective. I do think it's going to be pretty breezy around here. We'll probably have winds on the order of 20, maybe 30 miles per hour at times. So nothing crazy, but gusty. It would probably be a good idea to salt. It really would, just with temperatures dropping, especially if we get all that more rain around here on New Year's Eve day, and then we change over to kind of slush and snow. I do think that would help. So I would recommend salting for sure. LC Cole asks, supposed to fly back to Midway on the 8th. Do you think flights should be good then? Debating if I should stay on the island longer. LC, you should always stay on the island longer. But in terms of flight back to Midway on the 8th, let's dive into it. It's still a little too soon to tell exactly. We know it's going to be colder, but it's too soon to tell exactly what's happening in terms of storm systems. The Euro, as of right now, has some kind of weak disturbance sliding through with maybe some clipper snow. I don't see any huge snowstorms around the 8th, though. If we did have one, it would be right here with this one. Again, next Sunday and Monday. So I think you'll be okay. It's just going to be really cold. It's going to be cold when you get back. So there's that. Tom says, will there be a northeast wind that brings lake snow into northwest Indiana? I don't see that, Tom. And that's why I think most of it's going to stay in LaPorte County. That's a great question. I think most of it's going to stay in LaPorte County and then up into southwest lower Michigan, just because we have a steady diet of northwest wind. It really doesn't back off. So, and you can follow it with the isobars here. See how they're oriented from northwest down to southeast? That's kind of the direction they stay. And see, they kind of change here with this next low. They're still northwest, but then this next low comes in, kind of mixes it up. It turns northerly briefly, but it's not enough time to gather the lake moisture and bring it in. And then it's back to northwest again. I mean, you can just see that steady orientation out of the northwest continues. There's a little buckle there on the 8th and 9th. Again, we can't get into specifics of lake effect, 10, 15 days out. But that little buckle as our next storm system comes in may do it. That could bring some lake effect in. And then, another little buckle there behind this storm system. So there are some hints that it could happen, but Tom, it wouldn't be anything that lasts, for multiple days as of right now. Yeah, Maxwell, we'll see. It's interesting. Everything seems to be delayed. Our spring is delayed, but also winter's delayed too. We've had some warmer Novembers and Decembers, not necessarily this December, but in terms of it, it's interesting to see. I don't, who knows what February is going to have in store, but certainly is interesting. Yeah, Chris, rough getting back. Yeah, for sure. With all the rain around. Yeah, travel was a nightmare today with all the rain and ponding of water on the roadway, stuff like that. Brian says, how's Lafayette looking Sunday basketball game to go to from Valpo? So Sunday, we're going to have to keep an eye on that system. So Brian, in terms of Sunday's forecasts, to be determined, there's 2 days that are really to be determined. And it starts Saturday night, but Sunday's one of them and Monday's the other one. And the reason why, Brian, is because this low pressure right here, the Euro keeps it south, but we got to keep our eyes on it because the GFS has it further north, and it would bring in an impactful snowfall to the region next Sunday and Monday. All right, so those are the two things we're watching. So too early to call. All depends on the track of that low, but we know there's going to be some kind of storm system around here next weekend. As of right now, the models that I trust have it going south, but a slight northward correction, and we're in the ball game for it for sure. Rich says we are having a get together with my kids in Newton County on January 5th next Sunday at 1. We'd be okay. Same deal, Rich. Yeah, I mean, and the threat's a little higher for the storm the further south you get, right? So Newton County would be in that. So stay tuned to the forecasts. We'll have updates for you on the track of that system for sure. Oh, very good, JP. Birthday's coming up. Yeah, I mean, next weekend, the odds are, we're going to stay dry on Saturday. Sunday, Monday could be a different ball game, but yeah, I mean, the last thing you need for birthday celebrations, stuff like that, is a massive snowstorm, right? You are welcome, Mark. No problem, buddy. And Maxwell says, so hopefully we don't get too much snow, then it'll be colder. Yeah, that snow, if we get a good snowpack around here, Maxwell, it'll allow that Canadian Arctic air to come in a lot easier, right? Without moderating at all. So there's that. All right. So that's what we've got, guys, in terms of the forecasts. I hope that helps. Again, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday time off, or if you are working, you're enjoying the easy rush hours around here. They've been great. Don't forget, we don't take any time off from radio. X-Rock 103.9, Indiana 105.5, Z 107.1. Also, Lakeshore Radio, my old employer, my very first weather job I ever got at Lakeshore Public Television as the chief meteorologist there. Doing radio for them again. So you can find our forecasts all day on all those stations. Also, regionweather.com, the place to go. You can sign up for emails. It's usually one a day. That's it. And it comes right to your inbox in the morning when I type it up. It's a little picture I make. It's a little article talking about whatever you need to know weather-wise, and that's it. We don't sell your information or anything like that. So if you want a daily email with the local forecast, you can just open it up. It's usually a 1-minute read. So you can certainly sign up for that on regionweather.com. You'll see it on the right-hand side of the screen. And don't forget, a couple more weeks, regionweatherstore.com is open for your Region Weather t-shirts. This thing has lasted me several years now, and I wash it with all sorts of different colors. So they do stand the test of time. Good things to know. All right, guys, have a wonderful end of the year and Happy New Year to you. And we'll keep you updated through graphics this week, but our next broadcast will be in 2025. How about that? Good things ahead. All right, take care, everyone.